Hi guys, it's Bella. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited because we are doing our monthly wrap-up video. This month is we're officially in May, so we're doing our April monthly wrap-up and all the books that I read for the month of April. I had a pretty good month. Even though it was like one of the busiest months ever, I somehow read 21 books. Okay, let's just get started and get into this monthly wrap-up. So I started April off by reading How to Sell a Haunted House. I was so excited to read this. It's been on my TBR for quite a while, but I did not realize what it was going to end up being about. Honestly, I ended up giving it a 2 stars. I didn't think it was scary. It wasn't thrilling in the slightest. I was extremely bored like the entire time. I couldn't wait for it to end and I almost DNF'd it. And if you haven't read the book, maybe skip ahead 15 seconds. But the idea of like the haunted puppets, like I'm so sorry, that is just not interesting to me whatsoever. I would not recommend this book, and that is very rare for me to say. Normally if I don't love a book, I'll still recommend it for bits and pieces, but no, don't even read this book. Then I read The Coworker and I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It goes between the past and the present emails and I really liked that. Lots of twists and turns up until the very end. I would recommend this one. I'm slowly becoming a Frida stan after being a hater. So I don't know, Frida, you're being redeemed. And then I went down like the vicious Lost Boys path. I read the first one a few months ago. I talked about it in another wrap up, but I hadn't bought the other books of the collection yet. So I read The Dark One, Their Vicious Darling, and The Fae Princes. I gave The Dark One 3 stars, The Fae Princes 3 stars, and Their Vicious Darling 4 stars. I mean, these books are smut. I mean, if you want to read an adult retelling of Peter Pan with aged up characters, different storyline, and lots of smut, these are your books. And they're extremely short. I mean, you can literally read them in like 2 hours. Then I decided to go into Once Upon a Broken Heart, which has been so highly recommended and on my TBR for so long. I finally decided to read it. So I gave Once Upon a Broken Heart 5 stars. I loved the magical world. The main character, Evangeline, amazing, beautiful, love her. Of course, Jax, amazing male character. Lots of twists and turns, which I really liked. And then left on a big cliffhanger, which is always great when the next book is ready and available. So I immediately went into The Ballad of Never After, which I also gave 5 stars. And these are my notes. Jax is the best. Oh my god, literally so sweet. In quotes, there is nothing of equal value to me. The ending, so sad, I nearly cried. And I just love the treasure hunting aspect of these books. They're not looking for treasure, but you know what I mean. And then I immediately went into A Curse for True Love, which is the 3rd one. And that one I actually gave 4 stars. It wasn't a 5-star read for me. There were multiple point of views, which was fun. Good ending. I just didn't love it as much as the other 2, but it is a 5-star series overall for me. Then our queen, Abby Jimenez, came out with Just for the Summer. She is just the absolute best. I think she is quickly become one of my favorite authors of all time. Auto-buy author for me, 100%. I was giggling my feet. I annotated this book. There are so many things highlighted. Definitely a 5-star read. Please go read Just for the Summer if you haven't yet already. It's so good. Okay, and then I got invited to an early screening of The Idea of You by Robin Lee, and I hadn't read it yet, so I decided to read it. It was your typical fanfic. I think I gave it a 3 stars. It was fun. Just so fanficky. I mean, it is the definition of a fanfic, so if you like that style of writing and story, you're gonna love it. Some parts were definitely really long and I felt like it was drawn out, and the ending was heartbreaking. If you haven't read it, I do recommend it so you can watch it when it comes out. It comes out tomorrow, May 2nd on Prime. The movie was so good. When I say so good, I mean 10 out of 10. Would recommend to every single person I meet. Better than the book. So, check it out. I have been wanting to read Shadow and Bone for so long. So I decided to start Shadow and Bone. I gave 4 stars. I was intrigued the whole time, but there was so much world building and a lot of names, and I don't know, the world was kind of confusing for me, and I felt like I was reading at a slower pace than I normally do because it was taking me so long to register the names and what was happening. But I immediately loved the main character, and the Darkling, immediately loved him. I started Siege and Storm, which I gave 3 stars, but I wrote that I couldn't decide if I wanted to do it 3 or 4. There was not enough of the Darkling in this book. We love a villain male character. I was surprised that she stayed with the guy Mal and didn't join forces with the Darkling. That was kind of surprising to me because normally when there's like a bad anti-hero or a villain type male character, I feel like the woman always goes with them. And there was barely any romance. This series has like no romance. Even though she is in a relationship, it's still lacking the romance. And then Ruin and Rising is the last one, and I give that 4 stars. It was a quick wrap-up ending, but there were way too many characters, weird names to follow. I didn't like the ending or the afterword thing. And why the heck did she have to stay with Mal? I'm so sorry. Boring Central City. I don't know. And I wanted to go into Six of Crows immediately, but I needed a break. So Bridesmaid for Hire came out, and I wanted to read that really bad. It's my first book by her, and I gave it a 4 stars. I thought it had super cute banter. It was fun because the family was involved, and there was lots of family aspect, family games. It was the brother's best friend storyline. I didn't like that everyone's names were oh, jeez, there's a bug. I didn't like that all the names were so similar. Like, everyone had H names. I wish I wrote them down because it was like Harold and Harriet. You know what I mean? Like, everyone just had really similar names. And I don't recommend reading this on a plane, which I did. Lots of smut. Lots of smut. Okay, and then I decided to go into Six of Crows, which I started about 3 weeks ago, and I have not continued it. I'm about 100 pages in, and what I've wrote so far is lots of info dumping at the beginning, hard to get into. I don't love when you're starting a series and it's multiple point of view, because you're barely getting to know your main character and then you're reading like 10 different people's point of views, and it's like, I can't keep up. So I was having a really hard time focusing and keeping track of everyone and learning the names and the story, and I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm at about like 130 pages in, but I have not had the desire to continue it, but I'm going to because I really want to watch Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and I know I need to just commit and I need to just do it, but I've been having a really hard time. So if you like Six of Crows, please recommend it to me or give me some motivation to finish it. Oh my god. And then Powerful came out, the novella to Powerless, and let me tell you, I was blown away. Like, obviously when you go into Powerful, you know that she's gonna die at the end of the book, but reading it was, from her perspective, was so painful. So painful. I wasn't expecting to fully bawl my eyes out at the end. It was 250 pages. It was large text. You can read it really, really fast. It's a grumpy sunshine story, and honestly, so heartbreaking. Like, honestly, I don't even want to talk about it. It hasn't been enough time. I haven't recovered, but I gave it 5 stars. Oh my god. And then I finally read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. 5 stars. How can you read that book and not give it 5 stars? Like, genuinely, how? I listened to it on Audible because I really, really wanted to hear her say it and hear it from her mouth. And then I loved it so much, I went and bought a physical copy. Heartbreaking. I recommend it. And then the reappearance of Rachel Price, my girl Holly Jackson, who I love. I actually ended up giving it a 5 stars, which is shocking. I couldn't decide between 4 or 5, but I decided to give it a 5 because I was immediately hooked. Like, just the story in general, like, I read the back of the book and I was like, this sounds so good. So I knew I was gonna like it. Lots of twists and turns. I audibly, like, gasped so many times. I think it's my first 5-star thriller, if not ever, then in a really long time, because I rarely give thrillers 5 stars. I felt like it deserved a 5 because I didn't really guess what the, like, outcome was gonna be, and I was, like I said, I was gasping so many times, it shocked me. Okay, and then Funny Story came out, which, if you haven't watched my previous wrap-ups, I have not ever gotten into Emily Henry. I have tried all of her books. The only one I haven't read is Book Lovers, which I'm going to try, but they all end up being 2 or 3 stars for me. I just don't connect with her writing for some reason, and I always listen to them on Audible. So this time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna physically read Funny Story, because maybe listening to it on audio is messing with my head. Didn't matter. I just cannot connect with her writing for some reason, But funny story was the fake dating trope, which is my favorite trope. It was my first one I physically read of hers. I did like the male character, which I've seen a lot of people on TikTok don't, but I did. But I was bored like 99% of the time. I just wanted to get it done and I felt let down again. So I still am not an Emily Henry fan. I don't know if I ever will be, but yeah. Okay, and then yesterday I read my final 2 books. I read Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. So Done and Dusted, I loved. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was really close to being a 5 for me. It was my first cowboy romance. I loved it. The banter, so cute. But let me tell you, it went from 0 to 100 spice like that. Like the first like half of the book, no spice. I mean, there's like a little cheeky flirting here and there, but no spice. And then it's like, it goes right into it. It's like, oh. The only thing I didn't love though was during like the spicy scenes, his nickname for her was Sugar. And when I think sugar, I think like grandma being like, hey sugar, you know? So that kind of like turned me off a little. I was like, you could have done any other nickname besides Sugar. Then right after, because I loved it so much, I went right into Swift and Saddled. Let me tell you, it's basically Done and Dusted Part 2. Like it is basically the same exact story with different characters. I gave it 3 stars. It follows Wes, one of the brothers from Done and Dusted. Same cowboy romance. The family from the first one is still in it. It's still the same characters. It just follows a different brother. But it was basically like rinse and repeat. I would have liked it if it was slightly more different. And then the other thing is maybe I sabotaged myself because I read it immediately after finishing Done and Dusted. Like I closed Done and Dusted and then I opened Swift and Saddled. And I was like, this is the same book that I just read. So maybe if I gave it a little time in between, it would have felt a little more different because it wouldn't have been like directly compared to Done and Dusted. I don't know. But I gave it 3 stars. And those are all the books that I read in April. So the only one I have not finished is 6 of Crows, which I'm gonna try, you guys. I'm gonna try to read it. I just can't. I just can't right now, okay? I just can't. If you've read any of those books, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of all the new releases because April was a heavy release month. May, I think, isn't as jam-packed, but we'll see. I'm excited to see what I read this month. I have a feeling it's gonna be a fun month. Like, we're getting into summer. It's gonna be fun vibes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more wrap-ups, book content, all the things. And I will see you guys next time when I post a new video. Bye!